Powerless, underqualified, and as Catherine Reitman says, and I quote, specifically, like you don't have a choice. Something outside of your prescribed life is calling on to you, but you don't feel entitled to it. A psychological pattern of self doubt, a persistent fear of being exposed, which creates a belief system where you undermine your own accomplishments and experience feelings of inadequacy. Sounds familiar? Let us know in the comments below. As for now, join me in welcoming Haneen to talk about this a little more. Does it sound familiar?
Absolutely, sounds familiar.
So what do you do? Walk me through it.
So I'm Haneen. I'm a journalist. I work in broadcast media, and for a very, very long time in my life, I struggled to believe that I fit in or that I deserve to be where I am today.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome for sure.
And at what age did you start experiencing that?
Oof. I would say it started actually, now that I'm thinking about it, a while ago when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old. I used to do slam poetry, like spoken word poetry, and I used to go around and compete and write poems and all that. And I was fairly confident for someone who is, you know, young, to go out in front of people and speak. But in the back of my mind, there was always that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You have to keep going. You have to do better, write better, perform better. And it just never stopped. And that's sort of where I actually, now reflecting on it, that's where I would say it really, really started.
So public speaking, you're going on a stage or you're doing a class presentation or it's a family gathering and you're the golden child and your parents are like, oh, go show your aunts, go show your uncles this and that. What was the feedback that you were getting? Was it positive or negative feedback?
It was positive, which is the irony that comes into all of this. Is like you get all this positive feedback and people look up to you and say, you're doing amazing things and you have a bright future, but then you don't believe what they're saying, no matter what.
Or maybe because they have very high expectations in you and you want to keep up to the expectations. That's why you're always over analyzing everything.
The pressure.
Absolutely. That's 100% part of it. And I think we can relate to it as, growing up in immigrant communities and out of communities.
That's why they're not great.
Exhibit A, Exhibit B, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's like, it's a very common thing for them to, have these like major expectations of you. So obviously part of it is definitely that you have to, feel the need to be great and be the greatest at what you do, not just great. You have to be the best. You have to be the top of the class. So maybe for sure, like that bit of it is internalized in a way where it's like, yes, there are expectations, but I also think I have very high expectations of myself as well. It's like, there's always going to be someone better. There's always going to be, that person beating you to the stage, to the mic, or, in the classroom, and you have to keep up.
As a kid, even you had expectations in yourself. I feel like our expectations in ourselves as kids is our parents' expectations of us.
Yeah.
So they build this with us. I've seen people with very high insecurities because, like, let me say it in a different way. High expectations from your parents in you, it can ruin you more than low expectations. Because low expectations, fuck them, I want to prove them wrong. Very high expectations, and you can never meet these expectations, makes you give up.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm never good enough. I'm going to hide.
If I run a kilometer, I need to run a mile. If I run a mile, I need to win the race. If I win the race, I need to go to the Olympics. And it's a vicious cycle.
It is. And I think, a lot of us internalize that. And maybe that's definitely part of it is, those high expectations. And I think as an adult, you have to go back and think to, where these expectations come from. Where does that pressure I'm putting on myself comes from? And definitely part of it is, parents having those very high expectations, even expecting to be the best at what you do.
And it's in our Arab culture and Middle Eastern culture specifically, where kids are always expected to be the doctor and the lawyer and the engineer.
I think it's a Mediterranean.
Mediterranean?
Thing.
Yeah.
I know lots of Italian, Greek.
Japanese, oh my God.
Oh my God, like Chinese, like the expectation is just like, it's too high.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't do so many things. They want to achieve it in you because they made you.
They're fulfilling their dreams.
So, leave me alone. Like, you couldn't do it. I don't need to do it.
If you can do it, I can do it.
And it's true. Like, even choosing journalism is an anomaly in my family because I actually applied to neuroscience before and at the same time I applied to journalism.
That's what they wanted.
That's yes.
Engineer, doctor, shit
Well,
like
I
this.
wanted it too in a way.
Yeah.
Like I was really
Or
very
maybe they
science
convinced you
inclined.
that you
Again,
wanted
she had
Maybe,
the same
maybe.
expectations. Yeah.
It's possible,
You're
but I
married.
genuinely maybe, but I genuinely enjoyed the sciences. I took all the sciences. I was such a like a science nerd in high school, and I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I loved it. I loved the brain. I loved all of that stuff, and so I wanted to do it. But I also loved writing, and I was inclined. And funny enough, my mom is actually the one who suggested, "Why don't you go into journalism? You love news." Yeah, look at your
Of
face. You're
course, your father
surprised.
wasn't listening.
Of course, my father wasn't
There
listening
you
at the
go.
time.
She wanted to tell you this since you were a kid. but
Yeah.
Your father wasn't around.
Do you think you were good, like you were enjoying it because you were good at it, or were you enjoying it because it was your actual passion? Like, oh, I feel the most alive when I'm doing this or when I'm reading about this.
Mm. I think a bit of both. Like I
Okay.
definitely, that feedback when you come, look at your test results and like, oh, I got a 90 compared to like maybe I don't know, physics I wasn't that great. Oh, 70, like, oh, okay, maybe I wouldn't do anything related to physics, but biology, oh, 90 something.
And you
Totally.
tried harder for the physics.
Of course I tried harder.
I
So
can relate to that one.
Yeah.
So I definitely like, it's sure like it made me feel good seeing those grades and I was good at it, right? But I definitely love the sciences. Until this day, like it fascinates me. I write, I try to involve, science stuff in my work. So it's definitely a passion of mine. But the irony, yeah, my mom was like, do journalism. Why that's an option. You like news, you love writing, you're good at it, do it. And so imagine the shock when I go and tell my dad, Baba, I don't want to do neuroscience anymore. Even though I got the offer, I got a scholarship and everything, I want to do journalism. I kid you not, he looked me straight in the face and he
Yeah.
was like, you want to go cover wars and die? Those
Wow.
were the first words that came out of his mouth. He was so shocked.
Painted a very pretty picture for your
very
future.
pretty picture. And so, like, I'm a bit of an anomaly in
What
that
did
way.
he say? Yes.
Yes.
I'll replace the spatula with a microphone and a pen.
Honestly. And so he was like, honestly, my response, I don't recall exactly what I responded, but I was like, no, I don't want to go to wars. Like, I don't want to cover wars. Like, it's not like that, like I like being here and I want to stay here and report.
Role play it for me. You said this, you answered him, and like what happened after? Did you get into a fight?
No, but he was definitely disappointed. Like, he was definitely like, oh, like, what do you
For how
mean?
long?
You could...
Like for how long was he pissed or not talking to you? Did he stop talking to
No,
you?
no,
or-
it wasn't that extreme. He was just definitely disappointed, like, oh man, like you wasted this opportunity to go into like in neuroscience and I
have
wanted
to-
to be like a neurosurgeon, so like it was, going to the
That's
medical
okay.
field.
That's okay. Actually, that was very mature of him.
Yeah, no, eventually like, he gave in. And funny enough, he eventually started bragging. Like once I
Ah,
started,
okay.
doing great and getting this scholarship to university, he was
I
like,
made her.
exactly. They like to take credit. Yeah, so it's funny like that how things work.
Yeah. So, were you in Canada when you decided that career path?
Yeah, so I moved here when I was about 11 years old.
Okay.
I was born in the UAE.
Okay.
And so yeah, I did a bit of middle school, high school, and university here. So definitely made that decision here.
Because representation is very important. And maybe now there's more, like, we talk about it a little bit more in the media. We have content creators who took it upon themselves to create a platform and to represent their culture very proudly, and go back to their roots. But I feel like at that time, we didn't have that representation of Middle Eastern people in the news and in the media, especially here, like in Western cultures.
It was almost obsolete. Like I would, especially when I was in high school, I would look around and like, sure, you had some racialized people you see on TV, but it wasn't as much as it is now. But even then now, it's still not where it should be. And so to me, to kind of see that and then decide I still want to go into journalism and I still want to pursue that path is very weird.
Very remarkable.
Mhm.
If I were you, I'd be like, no, I'll do something where I'm gonna get accepted really quick.
Yeah.
You picked something like, and you're in Canada, and you're like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And look at you. You did. We have to agree on something. We cannot bring a guest to the podcast that I can give hard time. Like she's too perfect.
Oh, no, we'll get
What's
there.
my role here?
We'll get there.
I'm not
We'll
No,
get there. Don't worry.
seriously, why am I here today?
No, no,
You
no.
brought me here to
You'll
give people a
get there.
hard time. like,
I'm sure you'll find something
seriously?
to pick on. I'm
You
sure.
sure?
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I feel like I'm wasting my
No,
time.
no, we're just
No.
building up.
We're still building
right
up.
now.
Don't
We're
worry.
building up.
You'll.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's like everything sounds like she wanted it, she did it. Like what am I doing here?
No, but honestly, but let's be honest. Till this day, I struggle, and I feel like I want to give up. Like every morning, I wake up
Oh, that's normal.
and I say, "What am I doing here?"
This
Is
fear
it
is
worth
normal.
it?
Diversity hire.
I think I was a diversity hire
Till this day.
till this day. You know, like even though I know I have the qualifications,
So
I have the
let me ask you
degrees,
this
I have the
question.
experience.
What makes you feel this way other than what's in your mind? So is there any action going on that makes you feel this way? Or it's just what's in your mind?
Mistrust from colleagues or
It's genuine experiences. Like I, went through university being the only woman who wears hijab in my entire graduating class. The only visible
Now at
Muslim.
work.
At work,
I'm sorry I'm not entertaining
No.
that answer, but like
for
I just
sure.
want the audience to get it.
At work.
At work,
Yeah.
during work. You go to work every morning.
Mm-hmm.
8-hour shifts,
9.
9-hour shifts.
Yeah.
With a roll, with eye roll. 9-hour shift. During this 9 hours, anyone makes you feel uncomfortable. Anyone makes you feel. Maybe you can't answer this on camera because.
Yeah, so I can talk about generally like experiences. Like I can't get into like
Okay,
details about
general.
what work, but yes, there are experiences where, when you first start a new job and especially coming right out of school, I started at a big company, right? Where I wasn't the only person who wore hijab actually at that time in the building. But at the same time, people would look at you like, oh, is she a guest or does she work here?
like they look at her like she doesn't belong there.
People are colleagues.
Colleagues, people in the same building, maybe not my
But you're
direct
new.
team.
They don't know you.
Maybe I'm new, but then
You wouldn't
there's a
have
look.
had the same perception for
Yes,
someone else.
there's a look, and I'll tell you why. Because when you grow up as a woman who is very visibly Muslim in a country like Canada, you grow up to be hyper vigilant of the way people look at you, right? So I know when someone is looking at me in a way where they're like, oh, she's new, versus, oh, what is she doing here? Or who is she and why is she here?
What did she do
Why
to
on TV they would want diversity? Like, why would they care? You're not even on camera. You're behind the scene. So they're not
Yeah.
showing you off to say, oh yeah, I have diversity. I have some Arab ladies in my team too. Like, doesn't make sense.
Sure, it might not make sense to be on camera, right? Like it might not make sense in
Because
that
they're not
case,
showing
but
you off, right?
they're not showing me off, but then also when people are coming in, guests,
On the
people
books,
on the
paper.
books, on the paper, oh look, we have a diverse
It's a
team.
code.
But I think there's also a shift in the industry now where people appreciate the experiences that we actually bring to the table. Where with the perspectives that we
Different
bring to the
language.
table, different language, different background, different understanding of the world, different outlook on different issues.
cultural
that-
sensitivity?
Yeah, that people may not be
Yeah.
I
I agree
aware
with you.
of.
Let me ask you a question. So, do you think are you doing a good job right now? Like, what is your boss saying about your work?
They love me.
Then what's wrong with you? Why
There's
why
a
do you
lot
still
of-
think, oh, they hired me because I'm hijabi? They like your work. They hired you. You're doing a good job. They like your work. Move
They
on.
do.
Listen, us as Arab and other ethnicities, we love to use the card so much. The card.
Hold on.
I'm not
card.
talking to you.
I know you're
but
not talking to
but
me,
we're
but
stuck
hold
in
on.
this card. Like, oh, I didn't get this because I'm immigrant. I didn't do this because
But
I'm
she's
this.
not victimizing herself.
Look, sure, I understand where you're coming from, and it could be abuse in certain contexts. But when you actually have lived experiences and see that, like I'll be honest with you, I've been passed up for jobs for people that are less qualified than me. Why? Give me an answer. Why?
How did you know they're less qualified than you? How did you meet them? Did you interview them?
I worked with them. I saw them being
yeah, but
hired.
you can't evaluate someone because you don't hire. You get hired. So you're not. You're
You
not
see the
an
resume.
HR
But there's
You
also
see
manager.
the
common
resume.
sense.
There's
Maybe they
common
did better
sense.
in the interview.
It's not about that. I was already
Well,
working at the
listen,
company.
I
You know,
see
let's look
you.
at
I see you, hijabi lady,
Yeah.
working in one of the biggest TVs in Canada,
Yes.
and your boss is happy with you, not giving you a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot use this card and I cannot even hear it. Like every guy I know, like that is not like immigrant. I got pulled over because I have a big beard. Shut the fuck up. I see old white women pulled over in the rain.
But it happens. It happens.
But it
You
happens.
can't
And there are
invalidate those-
statistics
It's
to
one
back it up.
percent.
No,
It's
it's
one- in
not.
Canada,
No,
it's
no, no,
1%.
JC,
There are
no, it's
statistics
not.
to back it up.
There
There's a
are.
study that dates back to a few years ago that shows Arab and black men are actually more likely to be stopped. We
For
can
no
get into
reason.
this. We can get
Because
into
we
that.
don't drive properly. That's
No,
why.
No, no.
Yes. I've never been pulled over for no reason.
Maybe because
And
got
I look
lucky.
so Arab.
no, because
You
also,
are white
know,
passing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you would pass as Caucasian easily.
You are white
Easily.
passing. I'm
Seriously?
sorry. I'm
Come on.
sorry.
Colored eyes, blonde hair.
Yeah.
And then, I look from here at the cop, I look there from the cop, and you look like the type of guy a cop does not want to mess with. Let's be honest. Don't humble yourself.
Like my brother.
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
My brother
He's not
looks
here. He's
exactly
not
Arab.
here.
No,
I
I'm
don't know.
telling
Talk
you,
about your
he
brother
was
right now.
never a victim in a pullover. Like
Then you
even
guys
if-
got
Just because
lucky.
it didn't happen to you
in the
does not
US,
mean that it
yes,
does not
in
happen to
Canada.
people.
Not in Canada. And I'm not saying people in Canada are not racist. They are, but they're polite about it. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
But that doesn't.
But they're
that
polite
doesn't
about it.
undermine.
You're not racist?
Me?
Yeah, you're not racist?
In what way?
In
How do you
every
define
way.
racism?
Are you racist or not?
I don't think I am.
We're all racist. We're all worried when we're having conversation from someone from this specific ethnicity.
But unintentional is different than.
Let her answer.
Okay.
Would
Go ahead.
explain yourself? I'm trying to understand your perspective here.
Are you comfortable with having conversations or getting married or the unlimited people communication thing with all ethnicities?
I'm still under understanding. I want you to be blunt. I think you're jumping around something here. Just be
Would you
blunt.
marry a Chinese, a black person, an Indian? Forget
Yes.
about your parents.
Yes, I would
From
actually.
any religion?
Okay, maybe not every.
There you go. That's it.
But that's not
not racist.
racism.
Well, it's
That's
almost
not
the same.
racism.
It's the
No,
same.
it's not.
You're saying no to a
It's
human
not.
being because they have different thing than you. The color,
It's not
the
racism.
religion.
I think there's a difference when I'm interacting with you as a human being and I see you and respect you versus when you are committing to someone. That's
what
a
is
huge
the percentage
difference.
of racism, like racist people? Like you're perfect. Okay, you're 1%.
I'm not perfect.
No, you sound like one. We'll get into that. Yeah, you're right. I want to dig in this. Like how many? What's the percentage of racist people on Earth? Not in Canada, like on Earth.
Just a guess.
Percentage of
A
racist
lucky
people?
guess. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think? Just a lucky
Let's
guess.
say half the world. I don't know.
Half the world.
Oh no, it's more than half.
Listen, I go to Portugal. They say visit but don't stay.
Mm.
In Lebanon, when we had all the Syrians
Oh, we're
coming
so
in,
racist.
we hated them.
We hate each other.
We didn't treat each other well. And when we went there, also they didn't like us. For other reasons, these reasons, most people are racist. And why? Because we feel like we belong here, we own this land, and we want to keep it pure. That's what we think. So honestly, the Canadian, they're doing really good job by having us here, especially that, like we don't follow all the rules. We really work hard. We have a very good impact in the community, but also like not all of us. And they're still doing a really good job. I don't think if us in our countries we had immigrants, we would have treated them the same way. That's why I never try to use this card because I can use it and say yes, happened to me because the racism, and then why would I try again?
But you have
Because there's
privilege.
racism, it's still
Yeah.
there.
But you have privilege.
Yeah, and
let
Canada
me-
can't survive without immigrants.
Huh?
They can't survive without immigrants.
They did
And
before.
also, no.
What do you mean?
No.
They did survive without us. They brought us here so they can make more money. That's it, because we pay more taxes.
No, because we work twice and 3 times and
but
4
like
times
they
as hard.
existed and they
And we
started
accept
without
cheaper
you.
labor. We accept cheaper pay.
100%.
No,
Less
we don't
pay than-
anymore. We
yes,
don't
we
anymore.
do. Yes, we do.
And why is that? Okay.
Do you
this
accept
is-
cheaper pay?
Nobody does.
So,
but there are
you
people
getting
who have
cheaper
no
paid?
choices.
Are you getting paid cheaper than your colleague?
I'll tell you something. The industry doesn't make enough money. Like, I don't make enough money for what I
you
do.
and a colleague, that's what I'm talking about. Do you get paid less than a white person, same level as you?
No, at this point, because there's nobody else. The other person
But
who
it does
just hired.
happen.
Anyways, well, let's we're going off topic now.
No, it's not off topic.
But let me tell you something. You touch on racism, and you touch about, you go to the world, they tell you to visit but don't stay. This goes back to the idea of in-group, out-group. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this concept, but we are more likely to, be comfortable and interact with people that look like us, believe
Mortality
like us.
salience is triggered.
Sorry?
Mortality salience is triggered.
It's you know, like it's just natural for you
And I
to
get it.
gravitate
Yeah.
towards, you know, your own people,
tribe.
right? There are obviously negative sides of it, and it fuels in some parts racism, right? But it doesn't mean more than half the world is racist. It's just that concept. But there's something difference where it comes. Racist is also intentionality, like there's a bit of intention behind it, or fear, or ignorance. There's a lot of things that
Ignorance.
play
Oh.
into racism, but that's a whole other.
All I'm saying is very natural that we're not very comfortable with all races, just because, just like you said, the in group, a group,
Yeah.
but also like, yeah, we did go off topic for a little bit. But like, I'm like, can you get a citizenship in Dubai? Can I get a citizenship in Dubai?
لا
Even if
طبعاً.
I live there
No.
If
for
you pay
years.
for it, if you
So
pay
who's
I
more
was born
racist?
there.
If you pay enough.
No, you can't get it. I can't get it. You can't get a citizenship in Dubai.
You have to give up your Lebanese citizenship.
Yeah,
or
but it
Canadian
has happened
citizenship.
where if you pay enough money.
So who's more racist?
But it's not a competition.
But it's not a competition, but there's better.
Why are we
than
talking about
worse.
racism?
All I'm saying. You go back to the original topic. We feel uncomfortable in some companies, in some groups, just because we have this judgment in our head, because we heard our parents saying it, our friends, and that's the easiest solution for us to blame someone else for what's coming. All I'm saying, in Canada, they might be racist, but they're polite about it and they're fair. They might
they
have
fair?
for judgment in the first 10 seconds, but after this, they're.
Allow
I think,
me.
Think,
Allow
I don't know,
me.
I'll allow you.
Allow me. There was
So
a.
you're saying I'm cute, that's how I get by?
I'm
That's
saying
why?
you're not the type
You
of
have
cop.
privilege.
You're not the type. You're not the type of
I
guy that
have
a cop
thick
wants to
accent
mess
like
with.
crazy.
He doesn't want to mess with you. You're a headache. It's like it's not worth it. No.
What do
You're,
you mean I'm a headache?
you know what I mean.
No, tell me. Like, how
No,
do
I
look
mean
like
it in a
headache?
good way. I mean it in a
And
good
again,
way.
or bad, explain it. Like, I'm not attacking you. I just want to understand.
No,
Maybe it's
like
something I can
no,
improve.
a cop might be intimidated from you, which is a good thing. I don't think it's a
How?
bad thing.
How? Why?
Because
Let me explain to
Why
him.
is that scary?
No,
That's
let me
Let-
explain
let
to
her
you. Let
say
me
it.
explain to you something.
so I'm not biased.
When I look at you, and I don't know your last name, I don't know your background. I look at you, I see a white man.
Yeah.
I'm
Caucasian.
sorry.
Caucasian.
I'm not
That's
offended.
true,
I'm not.
right? But when you walk around in the world looking like that, and in a country like Canada, you have a certain level of privilege.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. White privilege is a thing, whether you believe it or not,
You
whether
have a
you
target
believe in
on your
it,
back.
you have privilege.
So this is for police pulling me over. How about interviews or work or clients?
Interviews as
I
well.
have a thick accent. Like, come on, can't you hear it? They
It's
can hear
not
it.
that bad.
No, but you can tell.
But it doesn't
Everyone I've
matter-
met, they could tell I wasn't born here.
I was
But it
telling
doesn't
you-
matter what you sound like, even if you are not born here. There is also, again, we're going to talk about pretty privilege. That's a thing.
Oh yeah. And you agree
You know,
with
and
me
I'm
on
not
this.
saying you're
We
good
talked
looking.
about it
Thank
the other
you.
day.
Oh,
okay.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
He just wants to hear it
I
again.
heard.
He just wants to hear it
No,
again.
She
I
has
heard
a
it.
pretty,
I don't
she
wanna
has
hear it
pretty
again.
privilege. Look at her. She's beautiful. She's going to walk in an interview, right? And that has points, right? I'm not talking about just
That's
you.
what we're
even
doing on
as
a Monday morning, bullshitting each other.
No. But we're also
It's
putting
true,
in the work.
right? And even myself, let's say, I'll be honest with you. You know, as a woman who wants to be on TV, my own parents straight up looked at me. They're like, you would have made it on TV by now if you don't wear that hijab.
Wow.
How old were you when you made it on TV?
I never made it on TV yet.
Like,
I work behind the
that's
scenes.
your goal?
That's definitely one of my goals, yes.
Are you working hard for it to get it?
Of course
Do
I
you
am. I'm
think you're
working in a
qualified
broadcast.
already?
I'm more than qualified. I've had people tell me, what the hell are you doing here? You should be in front of a camera.
So you think you didn't get there because you were a hijab? That's what you think.
Yes.
Forget about your parents. That's what you think?
There is definitely a part of it.
Are they hiring now? Are they
There's
looking for
definitely
someone?
jobs I'll be honest with you, I've been offered a job. I've been offered a job to go on TV.
There we go.
But there were
Okay.
circumstances, now you're going to be like, oh, you should have taken the opportunity. There were circumstances at the time, it was during COVID, I was still in school. There were so many reasons that stopped me from taking that job. But I'll tell you also what stopped me from taking that job. Racism. So it's funny because racism keeps you from being on camera, but then racism also stops you from taking the opportunities. I was offered a job in a part of the country where I was straight up asked in the interview, how do you feel about coming to the redneck capital of Canada? That was a question
It's safety.
I was asked in a job interview. And I don't blame them. I'm not saying, the people were trying to be malicious or intentional. They were actually genuinely worried for my safety because they understand the environment that they're inviting me into. They're offering me a job in that environment where I will be subjected to harassment,
giving
whether
you a realistic
online,
expectation.
on the job, right? And so to me, I also have to go back and make those choices where do I really want to subject myself to racist experiences?
Why do you think they offered you the job there? Like, if they're offering you a job there, it's more riskier for them than you because all the audience
Yes.
won't like it. If they offer you a job,
Most of the audience.
most of the audience. There you go. So it's riskier for them too, and they still offered you a job.
There's two things. Again, there's a whole, you could say diversity quota, or they want some representation. I'm not saying I'm not
They don't need
qualified or I wouldn't
diversity
have done a
there.
good
They
job.
don't need it there.
They don't need
No,
it.
no,
It's
no,
not
there.
going
I
to
know.
appeal to a clientele.
It's not going to appeal, but at the same time, it eventually there is a market for it, right? There is a market. People want to see those
But
perspectives.
but
and
they're
then
not ready.
For this scenario,
They're not ready yet.
They don't want
Yeah,
diversity.
no.
They want something that's accepted by the clientele. They still picked you.
But there is a population in that area too,
Very
right?
few.
That probably they want to appeal to. And that's the industry, right? Like a lot of the time people are trying to create, those opportunities for people because there is that appeal and demand
Okay.
for
Maybe
more
it sets them,
representation.
two.
sets them apart
right?
from
Reason
the
number
competition.
two.
Reason number two is I was still in school. I was still doing my master's at the time. It was during COVID. I would have had to pick up and move to across the country without no family, nothing. Did I put barriers up for myself? I still go back and and I reflect on it. What would have happened if I took that job?
What would have happened?
I
If you
probably
built
would have been in a
that
different
wall,
place.
Let's tear it down for a second.
100%. Like it's difficult to say because I regret not taking that job. Part of me regrets it, yes, but also part of me doesn't regret it because it opened up other opportunities for me to actually be better equipped to later take on a job like that.
But you're not there yet, and that's what you want.
I'm not there yet, but that's what I want. Yeah.
So just question, and honestly, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Why would you think they gave you an opportunity when you were a student and not now? Like you got the opportunity, so you don't get to talk. That you're not getting opportunities because you wear hijab.
But that was a
You did get
one-off.
an opportunity.
That was a one-off.
So you got an opportunity and you were a student. I don't care, one off, one on. There's no demand now, maybe for you, for women. Maybe it's for women. There's no demand.
Oh, there is a demand. There is a demand.
How do you
right?
know? Like
I'm in
for,
the industry.
For me, I can't
You know
help
what I
your
mean?
case
I
because
hear
you did
and
get an
I
opportunity.
we hear about
You
it.
shouldn't have shared it with me.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Look, yeah, see, and look, and I go back.
I was just like,
No, but we can't invalidate her experiences. And
Let me tell you something. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna flip the page here. I'm gonna ask you the questions.
Let's go.
Okay.
don't use big English words.
I said flip
He's
the
not
table.
a journalist. I said flip the table. What did
I'm
I say?
like every
I
time,
am privileged.
every time I'm talking.
You don't need to be as smart as everyone else. Not
I know,
that you're
right?
not, but pretty
God.
privileged. That's gonna be the
Let's
teaser.
say.
This is a joke I say to everyone I know works in
Yeah.
journalism or, don't
Trust
use
me,
big
half the time
words.
I make mistakes. It's okay. People think we're perfect.
It was,
I make
it was just a
grammatical
joke,
mistakes
believe
all the
me.
time.
I think I'm perfect. I was just joking.
No, she
Think
has
you're
thick skin.
perfect?
She's
Oh my
not
God.
offended. She's
No,
been through
I
worse.
don't care. I swear.
Okay, go ahead.
You are given a job opportunity.
Okay.
What does that mean?
احكي لك بالعربي يعني
Subtitles cue.
بحكي باللبناني كمان بحكي
Just
بالفلسطيني عشان
joking.
تفهم.
People
Okay.
keep scaring Aya that she's doing a podcast with me, so maybe I thought I should show them my funny side.
Is he human?
And in the picture, just so you know, in the picture that we have now on the podcast, she's like, JC, I want you to look scary. Me, I got dressed. I'm sitting there. I'm looking, as she says, pretty. And then she's like, I want you to look
He's gonna
scary.
hold it
Please fake
against
the look.
me.
So, guys, I can be funny too. Stop scaring her.
No, but he still did the scary thing, and I
Yeah.
got guys, girls, moms, single, married, you name it. Who is this guy? I'm like, go ask him. He's tagged. Go.
Oh my
I'm not his
God.
wingman secretary. I will say this once.
I got lots of creepers on my stories, just so you know.
There you go.
Anyway.
Okay, sorry we interrupted you to be to
You
talk
distracted me with your talk about pretty privilege on us.
I didn't talk about it. Okay.
Question.
Flipping the page, you get the
Yes.
job offer.
You get a job offer in a place where you know you are going to be subjected to barriers, insults, potentially physical harassment and assault. would you take that job?
There is more room for success, more room to be famous, more room for self-confidence, more room for, we just talked about this offline, to tell my kids the story. I made it there where it's impossible for everyone else.
Even if there was real physical
Yeah.
threat to your physical well-being, and I'll tell you what, but answer me that question first.
Physical threats, if I'm a girl, no. If I'm a guy, yes.
Thank you.
That's fair. That's
Thank you.
honest.
But if there is
let me tell
actually
you why.
proven risk for physical
Yes.
threat,
No.
and I'm not
And there's
gonna
a proven
question
risk.
you,
No,
maybe
let me
some
tell you
stuff I
what
don't know.
happened. And let me tell you what happened after I turned down that job. And I said, Alhamdulillah, thank God that I turned down that job. I
Why?
turned down that job maybe 2-3 weeks after me turning down that job. There were maybe 5 to 6 attacks on Muslim women who wear hijab.
And it still happens. It's very recent. People
It
think
still
people
happens.
think when we talk about it that we're talking about something that happened a week after September 11th.
No, of
Where,
course.
where did that happen in Canada?
In Canada, oh,
I was harassed
I'll give her the
in
point.
Ottawa several times.
By whom? A junkie on the street or a decent person? By someone high on drugs or by a decent person? 'Cause
A bit of both, honestly.
High on drugs and junkies don't count as Canadians. Don't count. Just don't count. This person, you
But
can't
that
judge them.
doesn't. But
You
that
can't
doesn't.
judge a country by
But those
by
people,
an
but
ill
the,
person.
sure,
But it still
okay.
happened
My
to her.
experiences were, people who were on drugs, but the experiences that in the city that the
Let-
job was there, it was not.
Let's talk about the mosque.
It wasn't
the mosque shooting.
simple as that.
And did you have to report on that?
A little bit.
Shooting?
Yeah.
Where?
What rock do you live under?
I don't watch TV. I don't watch news.
That's again
no,
privilege
you don't
because
have
you're
to.
not part of the community that
You don't
is
have
under
to.
that attack or that risk. You didn't hear about it.
Can I
Dude,
ask
I'm
you a
Arab.
question? Sorry, but are you
It's
Muslim?
different.
No, I'm not.
So
I have lots of Muslim friends.
yes,
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
It doesn't
They
matter.
didn't
Jason.
tell me.
Oh,
I
no.
just-
They didn't
No,
tell
You're
you.
beating me up because
This
I didn't
was
hear
one
of
of
this
No,
news.
no, I
no,
know,
I'm
but
not.
Again, you're cute.
No,
You
no.
didn't hear of the news.
No,
so-
no,
It's not
no,
about being
no,
cute.
It's not about that. Just give me 1 second. And we talked about this before. In like so many scenarios for a lot of people, it's a small piece of information that they consume in this age of social media, where so much like a storm of news is thrown at you daily, all the time. And that's just what it was, a piece of information, a headline, whatever. But for other people, that's their entire life. That could have been their brother, their husband, like someone close. That could have been them. So it's a lot more traumatizing, and you will hear about it because you're the target. You could have been that target.
So what happened?
This was in 2017. I'm just trying to get the dates right. Hold on a
It
second.
doesn't matter. It doesn't.
This was a few years ago. Guy walked into a mosque in Quebec City, shot and killed 6 people.
That's horrible.
In 2019, New Zealand, over 50 people shot and killed in a mosque. So when, and this is in Canada we're talking about, forget New Zealand, we're talking about Quebec, right? And even after that, when I tell you I turned on a job in a city that there were 5 or 6 Muslim women who were literally physically attacked, right? And you tell me, oh, you could have taken the job. No, I couldn't have, because that could have been me. That's a reality that I have to think about. And it's unfortunate. You can be offered that job. Oh, maybe I'm Arab, but, I don't maybe not look the part, or, maybe if I didn't
don't
wear
trigger
hijab, my life
anyone.
would have been really easy. Maybe I would have taken
Yeah.
that job. I don't look visibly Muslim. Maybe my name will give me out, right? People hear my name. Yeah, she's definitely not, Canadian or white, but look at me.
You don't trigger certain people that
I
are
get it.
triggered
I
by her
understand.
appearance.
She can cause some kind of noise in the room when she walks in the room, but I think she can flip this
Yeah.
in 10
Of
minutes.
course.
Because if you're thinking if they're racist, they're not gonna like me, they're gonna be uncomfortable when I walk in, you're attracting this. If you try this couple times just for me, okay? And I train people how to do networking. So when you go to networking business events, I train a group of people how to go there, close deals, make friends, and all this. Walk in this room and tell yourself, I'm going to kill it today. Everyone's gonna love me, and give them a reason.
Yeah.
They'll love you. Promise me. I walked in rooms. I have lots of haters, and I love them. She knows. Promise me. What's that? This eye roll.
I roll.
Lots
There's lots of haters or no?
Yeah, yeah.
There's lots of
Okay.
haters.
No,
Fair
it's true.
I love being around them. And when we are having conversations and when I'm around them, I feel so much love coming from them. They just don't want to admit
They
it.
hate you for a reason, though.
Sure, reason on me.
You're doing better.
Oh,
They don't want to put in the work. You're making them
It
look
doesn't matter.
bad.
I also say lots of shit. I also offend lots of people,
Fair.
and I low key enjoy offending some people. It's okay. I'm not perfect, but like I can walk. I'm comfortable walking in a room. I know it's filled of people that they don't like me, and I still can get by, and I still can do some business. Still can survive. So this is just an advice, maybe for you and for every hijabi or someone who looks different than the culture that you're surrounded with. Just tell yourself it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna give them a reason to love me. Just give them a reason to be valuable to them. Be valuable, give them love. Because even your race, your culture, if you walk in a room full of other hijabi ladies and you're hijabi, and then you're not giving them a reason to love you, you're not giving them a value, you're not adding value to their life or to this room, you will feel like you're a stranger in this room. So like just
You do
give
have
them a
to.
reason, give
you-
them a value. And look at you, you just got a beautiful job. You got a great job, man. Like there's lots of graduates from your same class. I'm sure they don't have jobs.
Sure, but let me. And I was smiling and almost laughing
And
under
eye
my
rolling
breath.
again.
No, hold on. While you
rolled
were
like 10
talking, you know
times now.
why? Because I've seen it with my own eyes in this industry, where people have given everything and given people every reason to love them and have added value to the company, have added value to their life, and they're still not treated well.
Oh, thank God for making it easy for me.
No,
No, that's
but-
all. That's all I can say.
No, like what you said, you have a point in everything
Sure.
you said. But let's say everything goes perfect. She walks in the room, everyone loves her, she gave value, etc. But still, that does not remove the fact that she had to work twice as hard as her counterpart who looks different or comes from a different background. Just because she looks like that, she had to work twice as hard, which I personally think is a good thing because it sets you up for success. I
Sure.
think when you want to prove people wrong, that's a motivator.
If
Sure,
it's
but it's
true though, it's not
exhausting.
nice. You
It's
don't want to live a life
exhausting.
like this. Yeah, it's
It's
exhausting.
exhausting.
It
If
works
it's
for
true,
me.
I'm saying if it's true, I
Oh,
mean, I
trust me,
know.
it's true.
Well, no, you're
You
not
don't have to
Hijabi,
say
you don't
if.
relate.
No, I mean as a woman, as an Arab, like it's each person has to work twice as hard in a certain context. It doesn't apply in all contexts. Just like someone else in Lebanon coming from a different nationality, or if you're a Lebanese person in Lebanon but you come from a different sect than the owners of the company that you're working at, you also have to work twice as hard. And you are that person that the scapegoat of, no, I'm not racist. My friend is from this sect. My friend is from
I'm
this family."
Lebanese and Val is Peruvian, and I expect her to work twice as hard too.
Because you're not.
First of all, it's Peruvian, but go on.
Peruvian, not Peruvian. So they say
Why aren't you
Peruvian for the
correcting
food.
him?
So they say Peruvian for the food. Someone told. So also Peruvian
I wish they could see
cuisine.
your face.
Mhm.
Or you say it very fast, and I heard it Peruvian. Okay. See, her name is Valeria. She says Valeria. That's what I hear
at
when
her
she's
face.
saying. She's so mad with me right now. So.
How do you like it working for GCD?
No, don't ask her this question
No?
in front of me. I always say this.
No?
Majid the other day tried to ask her this question. I'm like, let me leave the room.
Oh, there's a reason.
No,
he
it's
wants
it's
an
not
honest
proper.
answer.
It's not proper to put her in this situation
Yeah.
and her employers in front of her. It's not
Yeah.
fair.
Okay, okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
she's
Well, we'll
like,
talk
"It's
about it
horrible."
later.
Yeah, feel free to
Talk about
talk
it
about
later.
this
She's saying it's
after.
horrible. Look at her later.
Blink twice if you need
If
help.
it's horrible, tell
Blink
me we can
twice.
fix it.
Okay, so going back in like years of university, you're in the same classroom with other people who have the same dream. Was it different for you? Did you have a different experience because of who you were as a person? Did your imposter syndrome, like, was it fueled by those years or did it die down by those experiences that you had?